In my own research, I have focused on the Christian growth in China. I did some interviews with new converts to Christianity, especially in the cities. Christianity is not something these people grew up with, so they were not familiar with Christianity. Why do they have become Christians instead of going back to the traditional Chinese religions? Well, I see this as traditional Chinese religions, as traditions, they have, after several decades of the revolution, those no more barriers, no more obstacles for people to pursue something new. And Marxism has been in China as the orthodox ideology for several decades. And Marx, Engels, Lenin, these are all Westerners to the Chinese. So now the Chinese are free to pursue, free to search answers in all available belief systems. So Christianity is one of those available systems. And also this Christianity is associated with the image of modernity and globalization. So the example I gave in my article and also in the chapter about this Bible study at McDonald's in a southern city. The people like to go to McDonald's, these young professionals, college graduates, go there, eat at McDonald's, gave them a sense of modernity. They are part of this global phenomena. It's Western, it's modern, it's different from the traditional ones. And also there, they could do, when they just buy a hamburger and a drink set at the table became a private place for them. And they can talk whatever topic they like. And it's there at the table. They can study the Bible. Actually, there was that case, people using the McDonald's to do a training class, weekly meeting, and each meeting has one lesson, and the training would be, the training is composed of 12 lessons, and it's called Timothy Training Course. So it starts with the first lesson that's really introducing the basic beliefs of Christianity. And you attend one, the next week you would be moved to the second lesson. And after the 12 lessons, the last lesson would teach you how do you evangelize, how do you share the gospel with other people. And so it's, at the McDonald's, it's really a good setting for these young professionals who like to pursue modernity and also a meaning of life. Yeah, Christianity as a traditional religion in Western societies is often associated with tradition, traditionalism. But in China, Christianity is something new. And it has been introduced mostly in the modern times, especially Protestantism. The modern, in China, the modern educational system, modern medical system, all were closely associated with missionaries, with Christians. So for the Chinese, especially for the college-educated intellectuals, Christianity is closely associated with modernity or modernization, not traditional. Actually, Christianity empowered people to go against some of the traditional beliefs and the practices that have become obstacles for them for change. So it's empowering force for modernization. And also among the Christian leaders, some people have been talking about that this democracy, the association of democratic system and Christian principles, thinking that like in the US and in Europe, many of the constitution constitutional states. Well, the states really rule by constitution. Well, those constitutional ideas may have some Christian principles embedded in it, even though it's invisible or this is controversial in the West about the church-state relations. But looking from afar, looking from the Chinese angle, the vantage point, they say, yeah, there may be some connection between democracy and Christianity. That's another modern thing to pursue. So
it's part of the whole package.
Yeah, it's a whole package, right? The economic development, those, the economically developed societies tend to be traditionally Christian societies. The democratic societies tend to be Christian societies. But that's really, I wouldn't say it's those Chinese who have become Christians just want become Westernized. It's not. Actually, the same people also argue that the notion of the universal God is not an alien notion. It has been in the Chinese tradition. If you go back to the 5 classics in Chinese ancient times, 4,000, 5,000 years or 3,000 years ago, those classics, there is this notion, a notion of God or 上帝. So for these people, they argue that believing in God is really going back to the very root of the Chinese culture. It's only after perhaps the late Zhou dynasty, the Chinese began to lose this notion of universal God and also God the person. Now it's recovering from these loss. So it's not totally Westernizing, but really at the same time going back to the very roots of the Chinese culture. Oh, one interesting thing is, the Temple of Heaven in Beijing, the central symbol of worship in that is 上帝. No idol, no image of anything. It's just a 上帝, a supreme being. It's the same translation today for God. The Christian God is called 上帝. So it has been there. This universal God is invisible. It's a personal God, but not in those idol images. So the Christians could reclaim that. The Chinese Christians say, we are not believing a foreign religion. We are believing something has been in the Chinese tradition.